Great afternoon, everybody. I pray that this finds you well. It's a beautiful Monday, and I can't complain. It could be a lot worse. It always could be a lot worse, you know? Doing some awesome things, have some awesome things planned and in mind, and I hope that you all are excited, because guess what time it is? Guess what time it is? Lunchtime! Woo! I hope you're excited for the lunchtime conversation. I am going to get into a location where I can actually talk to you for a second and chill out, eat lunch, and enjoy myself, and have a conversation with y'all. Be right back. Okay, so I taped a lunchtime conversation for you all to see, and I went to go edit it, and it turns out that you can't actually hear anything. Like, okay, even if I put it at 200%, it still sounds like I'm whispering. And that's because I didn't have an external mic on me and actually in order to do it. And so I needed to be close enough to the phone where it would pick up my voice and not have a problem. So enjoy this little clip from what I did earlier, and we'll get to the new one, all right? That once was. And so you have to figure out where your sacrifice balance is, because anything that's worth something costs something. It's one of those equations that is like, okay, it makes sense, but then you have to figure out what the cost is and figure out what and where you can sacrifice and afford to sacrifice, where things can still function, things can still move forward in what you're trying to do, and you can still win in the life that you make. Ooh, butterfly. So I'm trying this new setup, and if the phone falls, it's okay. I mean, it has a case on it. So worst case scenario, it'll fall down, and you all will only get piece of this actual conversation, and I'll have to retape it or give you all of this plus whatever I finish off with later. But if you enjoyed that little clip, I need a suggestion for an external mic. So a mic that I can potentially plug in to my phone so it can still pick me up. I think an omnidirectional one will work for the time being, or I'll just have to get one that I can clip to myself and record and then put it on there eventually from there, depending on how that actually works. So the thought for today is dealing with still just being you. One of the things that I've been thinking about with being you is the pressures that the world puts on us. I mean, we allow a lot of pressures, of course, but society gives us its norms, its expectations, and sometimes we get overwhelmed by them, along with dealing with family, dealing with work, dealing with our hobbies, our careers, the things that we want our life to be. We have to remember to always just be us. One of the things that I've been thinking about is sometimes we get pigeonholed by what we're doing, like what our primary focus is, what our job is, and because of the limitations that they allow you in that job, like if you don't want to do that job anymore, but you're still in that job, and your mobility from that job isn't so great, sometimes you get pigeonholed into this is the only thing that they're capable of doing. While it still may be the best work that you're doing for them, the fact that you can only do this work, you can't necessarily grow to something else, or, I mean, you could do less work, but then you wouldn't have a job. So you're trying to do at minimum what you're supposed to do and above and beyond. But at the same time, there are other things that are pulling on you that are honestly more important to you. You still have to be genuine to you, because you've gotten pigeonholed in jobs and things that you don't necessarily like doing. There is a time and place for those. And once you give up those and are really focusing on what you want to do, the individual that you are supposed to be, that you enjoy being, that your gifts and talents allow you to be a part of, it takes us knowing ourselves and knowing who you are and who you're supposed to be to really get out there and deviate from what society says. Oh no, you should be loyal to this brand, or you should be loyal to your job. And don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong. Loyalty to your job and to your work is great. But think about it this way. Your loyalty to somebody else's dream means that you're not living the dream that you were intended to live. Unless that's what you want to do. Honestly, if your dream isn't that important to you and the success for you is building somebody else's dream, then fine. Look, I'm not going to tell you to not do that. But that also requires you knowing your true self. And so if your true you is working somebody else's dream and you're comfortably okay with that, then do that. Make that work for you. But you have to decide and know yourself well enough to where that isn't a problem. And if you know that in your heart of hearts that is not going to work for you, then you've got to find ways to move above and beyond what that is. And so you have to figure that out. You have to figure out what makes you tick. You have to figure out, what makes you the most happy, what makes you the most genuine you. And learn that. Become the best in that. Really strengthen that so you can, honestly, monetize it. Because let's be for real. Money is a requirement for everything that we want to do. So even if it's traveling, money is required to travel. Now, if part of your personality gets you free trips and things like that, because that's part of your brand, then do that too. Somebody's, at the end of the day, is footing that bill. And so money allows you to do what you need to do. And so if you have dreams that will take care of you and your family and the people around you and so forth, then live those dreams. Live the dream that is most important to you. And so you got to know you in order to know what that dream is. Because I would hate for somebody to go throughout life not really knowing themselves or really understanding who they are. Because you feel cheated. You'll end up with lots of regrets. And you just won't be the most happy person. It's one of those things to have joy. And joy is one of those things that surpasses understanding and so forth. But joy, it can, for you, can get you through hard times and rough times. But if you're not living to live as God has intended you to live, then what then is the purpose of having the joy? I'm not trying to be philosophical. I'm not trying to be deep. God gives us joy so that we can get through even the rough times. That joy comes from on the inside, so you can still be positive. You can still push forward. You can still move forward. But then are you wasting your joy if you're not living your best life or the life that you want to live or God has purposed you for? If you're not, then in my opinion, you're wasting your joy, because then you're going to have those rough times. You're going to feel miserable in what you're doing because you're not living that dream. Hopefully that makes sense. But it all comes back to knowing you. You have to know you in order to know your dream. And that requires you tapping into what God has made you for, tapping into who God has made you. Because if you don't really know, you know that you have gifts and talents that maybe some people don't have, or some people don't excel in like you do because they're yours. And so you've got to figure out how those are supposed to work for you and work to your advantage, and talk to God, because ultimately God created us to be who we are. And he gave us the gifts and the talents that he gave us specifically to use them with a purpose that he has made us for. And it wasn't by mistake. So if he has made the gifts and the talents, then he probably knows how to use them better than we do. Just a thought. Just a thought. You wouldn't tell the creator of something awesome, oh yeah, by the way, your creation knows better than you. Nah, that just doesn't work. So honestly, take the time to really get to know God so that you can get to know who you are. And as you get to know who you are and really dive into who you are, your purpose, your understanding, your dreams will all make sense. And you can be more effective in what you're doing and trying to accomplish. Because I want you to live your best life. And I hope that that's one of your desires. Nobody wants to live mediocre and an unfulfilled life. That doesn't make sense. Our lives are meant to be awesome. Our lives are meant to be, genuinely good. And so, I hope that you find you in the dreams that you have. I hope that you find you in the expressions that you use. I hope you find you in the positive things in the world. I hope you find you in happiness and in sad times, that you can still find you. When things are going rough, you can still be you and not worry about it. Like, you've got to be you no matter what. And people will enjoy you because you're being you, the most genuine you, the most true you to you. And so I hope that you all have enjoyed this ride. You know that I want you to take a second to subscribe so that you can get these lunchtime conversations, because I want you to know that you're important and that you're special and that you're here for a reason and a purpose that sometimes you may not even think you're worthy of. But today, just be you. And everything that you do, be you. I love you. God loves you. And until next time, be inspired, be edified, be encouraged. Put God first in all that you do. Love unconditionally. Do what you love. Always live and have life. See you tomorrow.